doing an excellent job there, has tied up the series.
It was super crystal clean by Maru as well. Never went overly eager. He would take out a base, then retreat off the creep entirely. He wouldn't, like, you see a lot of Terrans that kind of move in thinking like, oh yeah, I'm so ahead. But he was like, no, 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 no. This is like a very important match for me. I'm going to play it safe from here on out. And spawning in the bottom right of Ephemeron, it is Rogue.
In the top left, his teammate was the blue Terran. He is Maru.
Hydrating there, it is important.
Doesn't need to micro, apparently.
At least not at the start. Oh, but Ephemeron, this is a beautiful map, actually. I don't think there's anybody that's like, oh man, I absolutely hate this map. It's quite large, it's spacious, it's good for run-bys, but it's also quite nice for a Terran to set up offensive positions and also dealing drops around the map and such. We have seen mech on this map, we've seen bio. Anything can happen.
Yeah, a very common point of attack here, assuming that we get into the mid-game, nothing early cheese happens, is that the Zerg player has to defend around these bridges off the left side here for Rogue, and that, I mean, no matter how much they know that, every Zerg knows they're going to be hit there. It is so hard to get the creep spread as far as you need. It's so hard to set up those surrounds, and now Terrans are also doing an excellent job about prepping for those surrounds, like finding the attack on the backside, killing that, and then going forward on the fourth. It can be very brutal.
It's also interesting that barely any Terrans, and we've been talking about it all the time, like, none of them have really been going for mech against Zerg, and it's just funny to see that they have so much confidence in bio, even though the Europeans and foreigners have been saying how much mech is strong against Zerg. I love this respect he's shown to Rogue. He just doesn't want to be caught with his pants down at all. The SV's scouting early on just to make sure no shenanigans are going off.
You know, we don't know Rogue's opinion on mech, but I gotta say, like, if I was gonna guess one Terran who didn't want one Zerg to like actually face mech, it'd be Maru not wanting to mech against his teammate Rogue, who is very well known for his Swarm Host Midas usage in many matchups. He's quite brutal with it.
This is what I thought he was going to do on the Nightshade map when he was when he scattered with the SV and then didn't block the third. I thought that was very unusual. The drone came over here fairly early, actually, and he knows what was going down. He wanted to try and get rid of that SV with the drone, but it was a little bit too late with that. And Maru, so far, this is it's an annoying position to be in as a Zerg player.
Yeah, again, he didn't have to worry about having the Reaper directly to the natural because that SV did scouting for him. So now he's blocked out a third. This is also a map that you really can't take another third. Like, you don't take the forward third here. That would be very dangerous. So the drone's actually just trying to avoid the Reaper. It's not thinking about anywhere else.
Oh, but he has been spotted. Ling's on the other side of the map. Will Maru keep this Marine alive? And yes, he does. So far, he's playing very, very solidly this game. The drone will not survive.
So annoying. I mean, obviously a lost drone, but also going to send another one over here. And it's actually kind of a distance on Ephemeron between the natural and the third. So the Queen also took a while to help out. And Maru is just... he's making so much out of this.
He really is. This engineering bay that he kind of put down here, it has caused so much trouble for Rogue, and he still can't get up his third base. It will happen very soon, I'm sure, but such an annoying start by Maru, and beautiful play by him thus far.
Cancelled engineering bay's only minerals he lost. That's a good trade. He is going into something pretty typical behind this, perhaps once again into the Hellion Vantage. Nope, okay, so it's Liberator with the fast stam that I was talking about last game. No second Reaper this time. Doesn't need it.
You know, also, you talked about that creep spread. It's quite hard to get across to the left side of the map. Given that Rogue had to put his Queen to defend that third, that's a pretty decently energied Queen there. So that creep spread has definitely been thwarted quite a bit too by this early game tactic by Maru.
You know, usually if it's a normal game where you get third down, like easy peasy, you usually do that creep timber first, I would say. But with all that went on, you really couldn't do that. You need to build just as many drones as possible, try and take some advantage somewhere else, and that's what he did. Evolution Chipper's on the way, a little bit of a wall. The Hellions did get into the natural in the last game, and even bothered him quite a bit in that first game.
Stim does start again for Maru, which is a pretty big indicator that he is going for bio here. A third base also on the way as part of his wall, and the two Marines again just to deny Overlords and scouting. Liberator is moving across the map. I'm not sure if it was scouted at the natural, by Rogue, but he is producing Spore Crawlers at a pretty decent time here and putting them in anti-Liberator spots.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty safe thing to assume because they'll also help against Banshees, which are kind of our two basic openers. A couple people doing fast 3cc, but yeah, our two basic openers. Well, that's a bad timing on the drones.
It certainly is. They're moving. Oh, rather, the Queen takes the first shot, which was good. Nice micro. Is he going to lose that second Queen? Oh, big attack with the Hellions and the drone. I don't know if it was trying to make a building or such, but the Hellions are in the base again, and these drones, they're running for their lives here.
Yeah, there's not too many Lings take out these Hellions, and Queens don't do a very fast job either, so he's going to go after the biggest pack he can find. 11 drones so far before the surround happens there. Maru once again, just the look over here, attack over there.
It truly is. Like, I've mentioned it before, but Maru truly is a puppet master when it comes to making his opponents fall into his hands and doing what he wants to do with them. And all these Lings now, they're made to deal with the Hellions. Like, he actually had to overmake Lings there. And now they're kind of useless.
Yeah, exactly. They really can't do very much against a wall. Maru actually not going for any type of like early tank production. You know, he has been using the reactor, I believe, from the factory to move over. He's going to have a fairly swift follow-up drop, like 16 Marine drop pretty quickly to really continue to control the game. So Rogue really needs to just like settle down here, like get his feet underneath him because things are going to get heated very quickly.
This is one of those games where Rogue, the one advantage that he really has is that he's going to have 1-1 extremely early. Those Evo chambers went down super duper fast. I'm not sure what he's going to spend his gas on within regards to tech. The mutas didn't work out in the previous game. You usually want to go mutas when you're in a super good spot to keep the Terran back home. But maybe he has to buy time a little bit better here. Ooh, more Hellions.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to say someone else did this once, and you can use them as Hellbats, but you almost always see Widow Mines from a reactor factory. Well, we'll talk more about that later. The drop does commence, and Rogue, no cancel on that fourth base. He was focusing on this run by. He will grab a few SCVs, but is that worth the 300 minerals? Not so much.
No, definitely not. Nope. When it comes to trying to take your fourth base, and look, he's gone for the fourth base on the right side of the map. It feels like Maru has done such a darn good job of just taking out the expos of Rogue and forcing him to take expos that he really doesn't want to take.
Still continuing with Hellion production, by the way. Like, this was something that, gosh, I remember like Flash tried using this, you know, when people thought it might be good. It doesn't add enough splash. It's technically splash, but it's just not enough. And they're also pretty susceptible to banelings as well. So this is just going to be very weird. You can actually use them. You know what? Forget about that. Huge run by as the natural is wide open. Maru sees it, but doesn't have a lot to deal with it. So he's trying to pull the SCVs preemptively. And that is apparently good enough. Rogue has to leave.
It's a super decent pull on the other side of the map. Maru moving in with a Hellbat squad and the Marines taking out more Overlords. Rogue's been supply blocked for quite some time, and he's further supply blocked. The drones all clumped up. The Marines absolutely murdering the drone line of Rogue.
There's so few banelings left over. Certainly with only 2, Maru could target fire that, or just simply let the Hellbats on the ramp take care of it. And that's exactly what he's going to do. A brutal position here as Maru storms into the main base. The Queen's trying desperately to tackle the medevacs to at least ensure that the Marines will die, but no, they will not. Maru with a 2-1 victory here. That is a great start in the series.
Super clean play by Maru, and the way that he's using his army, even going for like a slightly unusual composition there, but hitting such a clean timing, it really felt like he knew exactly how Rogue was going to play with just this mass Ling style and trying to deal damage there, but none of it seemed to do anything. Even the big Ling counter